conquer the Earth.
It's my theory that these creatures are driven to mate with man now.
Cue the Winged Serpent, 1982. You want to talk about unique monsters? How about a giant flying serpent living in the Chrysler Building? This movie is exactly what it sounds like. A massive winged creature swooping down to snatch people off New York rooftops. Michael Moriarty plays this small-time criminal who discovers the monster's nest, and instead of telling anyone, he tries to profit from it. Classic 1980s, thinking right there. The special effects might look a bit dated now, but the way they shot the flying scenes still holds up. They used this clever mix of stop-motion animation and practical effects. The best part? The monster's screech? It sounds like a mix between an eagle and a subway train screeching to a halt. Every time I hear that sound in New York, I still look up, just in case. Alligator, 1980. Imagine this. A baby alligator gets flushed down the toilet, grows to massive size in the sewers, and starts snacking on Chicago's finest. Sound familiar? But wait, this isn't just another monster movie. The writing is surprisingly sharp, with Robert Forster playing this tired detective who's losing his hair and his patience. The alligator shows up at a fancy backyard wedding, and let me tell you, it's pure chaos in the best way possible. There's this scene where it bursts through a sidewalk that had me jumping off my couch. The practical effects team built this massive mechanical alligator head, and when it chomps down on things, you can really feel it. They don't make them like this anymore. Let me know in the comments below. What's your favorite unconventional setting for a monster movie? Sewers? Shopping malls? Abandoned theme parks? I'm curious to hear your picks.
Rapidly eating anything and anyone in their path.
The Deadly Spawn, 1983. Talk about a movie that proves you don't need a big budget to create something memorable. This gem was shot in someone's basement with a monster that looks like a giant alien tadpole with way too many teeth. The whole thing cost less than a used car, but the creature effects are incredible. These high school students basically created this massive puppet in their garage, and it's more convincing than some movies with 100 times the budget. The best scene? When the monster crashes a ladies' book club meeting, trust me, you haven't lived until you've seen a bunch of suburban moms fighting off a multi-headed alien monster with kitchen utensils. The sound design is wild too. They mix together cat growls, pig squeals, and who knows what else.
Where these things come from, but we have no idea how many there are.
Humanoids from the Deep, 1980. This movie is exactly what happens when someone says, "What if we made Creature from the Black Lagoon, but more everything?" These fishmen creatures come out of the ocean looking for love in all the wrong places. The monster suits are actually pretty impressive. They're slimy, scaly, and somehow manage to look both ridiculous and scary at the same time. There's this carnival scene that's pure chaos. Imagine fish monsters crashing a small town fair. The whole thing has this weird mix of humor and horror that only the 1980s could pull off. The best part? They got some really talented swimmers to play the monsters, so when they're in the water, they move in this super creepy way that still gives me chills. Quick reminder to smash that like button if you're enjoying this monster movie madness. And don't forget to hit subscribe for more retro horror content.
Watching and growing.
Michael?
Something evil. I know.
The Beast Within, 1982. Here's a monster movie that starts weird and just keeps getting weirder. Imagine being a teenager and finding out you're turning into, well, something. The transformation scene in this movie is legendary. It's like watching someone play with silly putty, but the silly putty is alive and angry. The sound effects for the transformation sound like someone put a microphone inside a bowl of mac and cheese and started stirring it really slowly. Paul Clemens plays this poor kid who's changing into something that looks like a giant cicada crossed with a horror movie reject, and somehow he makes you feel sorry for him. The practical effects team must have gone through gallons of fake slime to make this work. Night of the Demon, 1980. Don't confuse this with the 1957 classic. This is the bonkers 1980s. Bigfoot movie that goes places no other Bigfoot movie dares to go. Picture this: a group of anthropology students tracking a murderous Sasquatch that knows Kung Fu. Yes, you heard that right, a martial arts Bigfoot. The monster suit might look like someone stuck a bunch of carpet samples together, but when that thing starts throwing karate chops, you can't look away. There's this amazing scene where Bigfoot crashes through a cabin wall like the Kool-Aid Man, and it's both terrifying and hilarious. The sound they used for Bigfoot's roar? It sounds like someone took a lion's roar and played it backwards through a fan.
The thing that preys on human fear.
Without Warning, 1980. Imagine this: alien creatures that look like flying pizza slices with tentacles, hunting people for sport. That's basically what we've got here, and it's amazing. Jack Palance and Martin Landau show up to chew scenery and fight aliens, and honestly, what more could you want? The best part is these weird organic frisbees that the aliens throw. They're like living weapons that stick to people with their tentacles. The sound effects for these things sound like someone playing a rubber band in slow motion. There's this great scene in a bar where one of these creatures just splats right onto someone's face, and the reaction from the other customers is priceless. The whole movie feels like a fever dream in the best possible way. All right, monster fans, hit me with your best so bad it's good monster movie moment. What scene made you laugh when you were supposed to be scared? I'll start. That Kung Fu Bigfoot scene from Night of the Demon still cracks me up.
Some people are missing.
The Being, 1983. This movie takes the whole toxic waste creates monsters idea and runs with it all the way to Idaho. Who makes a monster movie in Idaho? These people, that's who. The monster looks like someone put a bunch of Halloween masks in a blender and then brought the result to life. There's this scene where it shows up at a drive-in movie theater, and it's just pure chaos with cars flying everywhere. The sounds this creature makes are unforgettable. Imagine someone gargling Jell-O through a megaphone while playing a kazoo. Plus, you get to see Jose Ferrer looking completely confused about how he ended up in this movie. The whole thing is like a master class in how to make a monster movie on a budget. Forbidden World, 1982. Okay, imagine if someone watched Alien and said, let's make that, but more bonkers. That's Forbidden World in a nutshell. This monster starts as a science experiment gone wrong and keeps evolving throughout the movie, getting weirder and grosser each time. The creature effects are this amazing mix of puppetry and slime. Lots and lots of slime. There's this great scene where the monster busts through a ventilation shaft, and you can totally tell it's just garbage bags painted to look alien, but somehow it works. The sound design is wild too. They created the monster noises by mixing together cat purrs, pig squeals, and what sounds like someone playing with a wet sponge. The Boogens, 1981. First off, can we talk about that name? The Boogens. It sounds like something a kid made up, and that's part of its charm. These turtle-like creatures live in abandoned silver mines, and they've got these weird mechanical tentacles that make absolutely no sense but who cares? The whole movie takes place in this small mining town where everyone seems surprisingly chill about people disappearing into mine shafts. There's this amazing scene where one of these things pops out of a toilet, because apparently that's what monsters did in the 80s. The creature sounds like someone dragging a metal trash can across a gravel driveway, and once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Time for another audience question. What's the weirdest place you've ever seen a monster pop up in a movie? Let us know in the comments below.
You can make it happen.
Xtro, 1983. Now this is what happens when someone makes a monster movie after eating too much spicy food before bed. This British sci-fi horror starts with a guy getting abducted by aliens. But that's just the beginning of the weirdness. He comes back 3 years later, but he's different. There's this scene where a woman gives birth to a fully grown man that I still can't explain to this day. The best part? A killer clown toy that comes to life and starts hunting people. Who thought that was a good idea? The sound effects are wild. The alien noises sound like someone playing a theremin underwater. And don't even get me started on that Black Panther woman scene. The whole movie feels like someone filmed their fever dream and somehow got it distributed.
Has ever entered.
Sonar contact.
Down here? I'd like to go out and take a look.
Deep Star 6, 1989. If you thought working in an underwater research station was a good career choice, this movie will change your mind. Picture this. A team of scientists discovers a prehistoric sea monster while building an underwater missile base. Because of course they do. The creature looks like someone crossed a lobster with a great white shark and then made it really angry. There's this amazing scene where it attacks their station, and you can hear the metal creaking and groaning under the pressure. The sound design team did an incredible job. The monster's roar sounds like a whale song played through a garbage disposal. Plus, you get to see Miguel Ferrer being sarcastic about everything, which is always a bonus.
We've lost him. My crew's in jeopardy.
But you have no proof.
I'm ordering you to start an emergency.
Leviathan, 1989. Speaking of underwater monsters, here's another deep-sea creature feature that'll make you think twice about going swimming. The creature in this one starts as a weird mutation that spreads through the crew like a virus. The transformation scenes are incredible. Lots of bubbling skin and falling off faces. The monster's final form looks like someone threw every sea creature into a blender and hit puree. The best part is the sound design. When the creature moves through water, it sounds like someone stirring macaroni and cheese mixed with dolphin calls. There's this tense scene in a flooded corridor that'll have you holding your breath. And watch out for that elevator shaft scene. It's a doozy.
I want to finish your experiments.
You must go up there this instant and end the experiment.
The Kindred, 1987. Imagine finding out your mom was a scientist who created a monster in her basement. And oh yeah, it might be your brother. This movie is what happens when someone watches too many mad scientist films and thinks, but what if we added tentacles? The creature effects are actually pretty impressive. Lots of pulsing flesh and wiggling appendages. There's this great scene where the monster emerges from a tank, and it sounds like someone unclogging a drain filled with jello. The transformation sequences use this weird bubbling effect that looks like melting ice cream mixed with horror movie makeup. Plus, you get Rod Steiger yelling about scientific ethics while things go crazy around him. The whole movie has this weird family drama vibe mixed with body horror. Describe your perfect monster design using 3 existing animals combined together. Drop your creature creation in the comments. The weirder, the better. My pick? A squid elephant scorpion hybrid.
Oh, they'll get into your system.
Oh my God!
They ooze.
There's something down there.
Slugs, 1988. Who knew garden pests could be so terrifying? This movie takes regular slugs and turns them into flesh-eating monsters. The best part? It plays it completely straight. These are just regular slugs that decided people look tastier than lettuce. The effects team must have had a blast making all those slimy practical effects. There's this amazing scene in a fancy restaurant that'll make you check your salad twice. The sound effects for the slugs moving around sound like someone slowly pulling their hand out of a jar of mayonnaise. And don't even get me started on the greenhouse scene. Let's just say gardening gloves are essential. The whole thing is like a public service announcement about garden maintenance gone horribly wrong. The Nest, 1988. Think cockroaches are bad? Wait until you see what happens when scientists try to control them through genetic engineering. These roaches don't just scurry away when you turn on the lights. They fight back. And they're smart too. The effects team went all out, using thousands of real cockroaches mixed with mechanical ones for the close-ups. There's this scene in a kitchen that'll make you never want to eat out again. The sound design is incredible. They recorded actual cockroaches walking on different surfaces and amplified it. It sounds like someone spilling rice on a metal sheet, but way creepier. The best part is when the roaches start combining into bigger roaches, because apparently, regular cockroaches weren't scary enough. What's the most unexpected place a movie monster could attack? We've seen sewers, space, and the ocean. Give me somewhere totally new in the comments. Most original location gets pinned.
Pretty dead. Kill me.
The Intruder Within, 1981. Here's what happens when an oil drilling crew digs too deep and finds something that definitely isn't oil. This made-for-TV gem takes place on an isolated oil rig, which is already scary enough. The monster looks like someone threw together every leftover prop from other monster movies, but somehow it works. There's this great scene where it comes up through the drill shaft, and the sound it makes is like a garbage disposal eating a metal pipe. The practical effects team did an amazing job making the creature look slimy and gross, even on a TV movie budget. The best part is watching the crew try to fight this thing with regular oil rig equipment. Who knew a wrench could be a monster-fighting weapon? Scared to Death, 1980. Don't let the generic title fool you. This movie is anything but generic. We've got a monster that looks like someone crossed a praying mantis with a motorcycle gang member. The creature design is actually pretty cool, with these mechanical parts mixed with organic elements. There's this incredible scene in an empty subway station that'll make you think twice about late-night train rides. The sound department went all out. The monster's screech sounds like a car brake mixed with an electric guitar feedback. And can we talk about that sewer chase scene? The whole thing was shot in actual storm drains, which adds this crazy level of claustrophobia. Plus, the monster has these glowing eyes that look like someone stuck flashlights into ping pong balls.
What was that?
Nightbeast, 1982. We're ending our list with a real low-budget masterpiece. This movie proves you don't need a big budget to create something memorable. An alien crash lands in a small town and starts causing havoc with its laser gun. Yes, you heard that right. A monster movie with laser guns. The creature looks like someone raided a Halloween store and stuck all the masks together. But that's part of its charm. The laser effects are pure 1980s goodness. Bright neon beams everywhere. The sound effects for the laser blasts sound like someone playing a synthesizer while gargling mouthwash. There's this amazing scene where the monster crashes a town meeting, and you can tell everyone in the room is trying really hard not to laugh. You're a mad scientist in a monster movie. What everyday animal would you mutate into a giant monster, and why? Remember to explain your choice in the comments. I want to see your scientific reasoning. And there you have it, monster fans. 20 forgotten gems from the 1980s that deserve another look. If you enjoyed this monstrous trip down memory lane, don't forget to crush that like button, subscribe for more retro horror content, and ring that notification bell. Share your favorite forgotten monster movies in the comments below.